Randy Curlis, Jeff Dawes, Sam Han,
Here.
Chris Hickman, Doug Rice,
Here.
Mike Roos, Jeff Shorkin, Sherry Slee, Joe Vogel. We have a quorum.
First, the approval of the minutes.
Randy Curlis,
Yes.
Jeff Dawes,
Yes.
Sam Han,
Abstain.
Chris Hickman, Doug Rice, Mike Roos, Joe Vogel.
Yes. That's the premise order.
Yeah, so this is one I'll be getting with the contractor who took the house out and make sure here in the next month or so we get some grass seed on it. That's the only thing that's really left to do. They do have some blotchy grass out there now. It's coming in actually halfway decent. But you know, there's going to be some spots out there. We did pay for that, so that's part of the deal. Chuck knows that, so I'll be getting in touch with him anytime and just say, hey, we've got some warmer weather now. It's probably getting time to get that taken care of. So that'll be shortly down the line. That way we can hopefully get this off there. So the zoning ordinance review, we're still working on the regular zoning ordinance review stuff. We do plan on having that at the next meeting.
That's part of it, yeah.
At least part of it. And Banning wants to be here for that to see how far along we've gotten. So we're going to try to get it as far, whatever we're at with it, so that they know some progress of it, so they can give us a little better of an idea of the cost to finish it and to review it and finish it, what we don't have left or haven't finished yet. We're saying we're probably at least 50 plus 60% done with what we had started on. That's why the whole ordinance review that they gave us the proposal for was for the whole thing, starting from scratch. And we've already gone through a majority of the larger portions of it. So we don't think that was warranted. That's why they're going to come back with a different number. But we've talked to them. I think, is it Mary? I think she's going to be here, or she said she would try to plan on being here for our next meeting. So we'll have that on the docket for the next meeting to go over quickly with them about how much we have, and then hopefully set up a meeting time with them to go over with in the office. So, and maybe we can calculate that before the meeting or something like that and have it done, and then come to the meeting that evening. That way they're not making 2 trips back and forth to Indy, but we'll see how that works out. So
they will have a number then to finish out the.
I don't know if they'll have a number at that meeting, because we said we were going to gather all of our information for this April meeting and have it all ready for them to review, so that they could give us a little better number. Because what they gave us, like it was said, was a full-on start to finish, and we've already done, like I said, probably at least 50% of that. So we wanted to get them a little more information as far as that goes. We haven't been working on it like we were, just here and there to try to get it to a point where we can hand it over to them and say, here's what we've done. Here's, give us a number from this to review it and finish it out and see. So that's what we've been working on to get to this point. Obviously, we've been busy with some other things too, so we're trying to get that done in the meantime. So.
Unsafe premise order at 140 West Silver Street.
Yes, this is one, and this is still on here because there are a few things out there on the site. Not much. When I was there, I did not go by there last week. I think it was several weeks ago. There was just a few things, some concrete block and some piles of wood. Most of anything that was recyclable, they've got out of there. It's gone. There's not too much there. Not much at all. So they've done a really good job of getting that stuff out of there and cleaned up. We just have a few things left to hopefully get taken care of, and then we'll be able to close this out. I'm hoping in the next couple meetings or so. So the weather obviously is going to play a factor in it, because it's just a big pile of mud out there right now. So trying to get any vehicles in there and get it cleaned up is probably not too easy for them to do right now. So.
Jeff, we'll move to the ordinance.
So the BES and data center draft ordinance, we've been working on. I'd like to wrap this sort of into also with new business as part of this. I've been asked by a county commissioner to ask for a moratorium to be placed on data centers in the county. So while we're looking at it, I had it down under any new business, but with the BESs and the data center draft ordinance, which we do have in place, we just haven't finished it, sort of similar to what we're at now with the carbon sequestration. We just, from what I gather, keep hearing more and more about the data centers and what's going on with them. And we probably need to, obviously, we've already started it, and it was on our list of things to get working on. So, but in the meantime, we've been asked to place the moratorium on it. Now, Mark, I don't think there's anything we can do here now. We'd have to place it on an agenda for a following meeting for a vote, or can we?
Would be fine, and then usually April, I can bring that proposal to you, and if you approve it, then May hold a public hearing, and then it goes.
And I do agree, I think, so I have, a couple of dealers up in St. Joe County where they put a data center, and it is a night right now. Right now, they're trying to figure out what to do with the water on this roof and cool those computers, because then it's contaminated. So if there's one here in Wabash County, it could really screw up our water sources pretty quick. I think we need to have a moratorium so we can really dive out of this and figure out what the heck.
Oh, yes. Mark, you'll help us out with the process moving forward to get the paperwork on that.
Randy Curlis, Jeff Dawes, Sam Han, Chris Hickman, Doug Rice, Mike Roos, Joe Vogel.
So
Well, that's all I had with that, with the old business stuff.
Okay, we can move on. Okay, move to new business application, SE dash 26 and you for self. Requesting a home occupation at Q to place a bakery on property. Single, 15 North Ocean Street.
Morning. People come up and have a seat. I'll just stand here. Okay. I think everybody's had a chance to take a look at the documents with it. Okay. I'd like just to ask a few questions to get the thing going, and I don't think it should take us too long. The property is zoned Ag 2. My understanding that already on there. Now, business zoning comes up halfway through the property south of for some reason. You got a restaurant, you have a gas station, there's a used car lot or something here, and there's a motorcycle business across the road on the west side. Our house is here. Jen, a couple of years ago, can I call you Jen? Jen, a couple of years ago, had some surgery and was stuck at home, couldn't do anything. And why don't you tell them how you got into this cookie business?
I was home with having knee replacement, and I was scrolling through video after video of people making cookies, and I decided that I could do that. So I taught myself through various lessons and have just, I started off just doing it with friends and family. And then through word of mouth, I've had a lot of interest expressed in it. So I decided to move forward.
Can I get these back if I pass them around?
No.
All of them?
Yes.
Oh,
I would have known how many of you.
this crowd, I don't know.
She brought them to me and I said, that's great. I'll pass them around to the commission. So they can see
Up to you, if he knows.
what she does. Do you bake anything besides cookies?
No,
Okay, how do you market them?
I market them by word of mouth. Family, friends. Just from talking to people and general everyday conversation.
Okay.
I do have a website. I'm on a Facebook page as well. That's the only way that I'm.
And you're licensed with the state, you have what's necessary at the state level to do this.
Yes,
Okay. And you folks have acquired a shed at, where it's in North Manchester,
Correct.
and it's still there.
Correct.
Okay, but you like to put, I get this small.
You have to be part of the record.
I like the way you think.
I have a picture if you'd like to look.
The yeah, photos of the building, you can really, well, okay, I'll just show you.
They're in the packets that everybody has.
Yeah, they're in the packet. The building will set like this. Okay, with the porch facing to the, correct me if I'm wrong, south. Okay, and then the door to it then would be on the east. Okay, now we need the special exception so that we can have a home occupation in an A2 district. We need the variance because the building as planned is going to sit 95 feet from the center of Highway 15. The ordinance calls for 105 feet. So we need a variance for 10 feet. The house itself sets right at 100 feet from the center of the road. So the building will be about 5 feet farther to the west than what the house is itself. It meets all other setback requirements. It'll be far enough away from the house, from the garage, and so on and so forth. The garage on the house, you come into the garage from the south. To the right, right there. That's the entrance right there. You come in from the south. Okay. Jen, how many customers do you expect to have at your property on a week's basis?
I don't expect anyone to come onto the property.
How do they get their cookies?
I deliver them personally to wherever they're at.
Okay. So setback, very, okay. What about water and sewer?
I don't know
That's
about
your everywhere.
That'll be hooked up to the house. I'm not sure it's on the documentation, but the kitchen is right here in the house. So it's part of why we like that location. The water and the,
Okay. And you're gonna tie the water and then the gray water into the plumbing at the kitchen?
correct, and it is just gray water, it's just.
Right. And the well is where, and the septic leach field is where?
The septic leach field is back in this
To
area,
the east,
yes, and then the well is clear up on the north side.
on the north side. Okay. Electricity?
Electricity comes in the north side of the house, right here. So that will have to run power around for that
What's your vocation?
electrical engineer.
Okay. And Jen, what do you do for a living?
I'm an administrator of a retirement community.
At which one? Any kids at home?
And we have a stepdaughter that's there on the weekend.
Okay.
I thought I was
Okay. So why do you want an accessory building?
because it's, my business is taking over the inside of my house and I need to separate it so that it's all in one location.
Okay. Do you have commercial equipment that you use?
No, it's all home equipment.
Okay. And do you get deliveries to the property for your supplies?
No, we go out and purchase those ourselves.
Okay. So there's not gonna be any traffic increase.
No.
No noise. Maybe some good smells.
I'm hoping.
So with that, maybe I can just open up the questions if anybody has any questions. I'm glad to answer them for you.
So if we get busy, you'll always have to get to the
Correct.
you won't come to your house.
Correct. I would prefer not to have that much traffic.
Well, I agree, and my concern is safety of getting in and out, and I would kind of like to have a place that the circle and nothing, I mean, it's not blocking, but.
I will always be doing that.
And then the little chills building, will, you just take stuff out there and store it, because, or you actually make that.
My goal is to bake out there and use that to bake and to decorate.
That was a nice building, I bought a lot of ice cream, and there
And that's the nice part.
would walk up.
You'd be glad to send you some cookies if you'd like.
No, I'm just saying, that's a nice, it's not, just a portable kit, it's a nice building.
Yeah.
It is portable kit, but.
The ordinance actually prohibits her from, using both the house and the accessory. It's gotta be in the accessory building.
Our licensing, do you have to have a bakery?
I follow the Indiana cottage laws, which is the home-based vendor laws. And I've gone through each of them to make sure that I've got proper labeling on my products that, it states that they're baked in my home, not in a commercial kitchen and not for sale. I don't ship outside of the state of Indiana. I only sell within the state of Indiana. So I've gone through each of the requirements to be a home-based vendor to make sure I'm meeting those requirements.
Does the health department get involved?
Because it's not a commercial kitchen.
And there is a license or certificate you have from the state.
I have my business licenses and then I have my food handling
Yeah,
certification.
food,
As well.
food handling is what I was thinking of.
The only reason the health department, I think, would be involved with this, if we gave them a call and asked them, would be anytime you're hooking up a septic system that's not part of the original home, meaning those are normally based off of bedrooms. If it's just gray water, they're probably not going to have an issue with it anyways, but we will probably check, and she is right about the college laws because we have checked on that before too. So the health department will not have anything to do with the actual insides checking or anything like that I know of.
My understanding is the only way that they would typically come in is if there was a complaint filed against it.
Anything else?
Yeah, and I think one of the reasons too, because when Rick and I first sat down and looked at it, we're like, hey, they could loop a driveway, but then that goes right through the septic and right past the well. And that would be a bad deal, probably trying to get through there to loop a driveway in for something that's really not needed if you're not having, people coming in and out. We were just trying to look at all kinds of different ways to do this without, and that was one of them we actually did look at, was trying to see about a loop driveway, but if it's not needed at this point, for something like this, so.
As far as advertising, you'll have it,
It's just intended for a place for me to actually do what I need to do.
Yeah, I'm just kidding.
That's the
They're
question.
allowed one sign, but she doesn't intend to have them sign. So.
And as long as it's on the building, I don't even think it's required to get a permit for it, so they wouldn't actually have to, as long as it's mounted on the side, on the actual structure itself. So.
I don't put any sugar in them. I have a variety of different foods. I can do gluten free. I can do a variety of different things.
Oh, yeah.
I wasn't there yet. I was just letting them finish their conversation. Public comment. Does anybody in the public have any comment?
Public comments on this.
All right. So we have a motion for a favorable recommendation by Doug, second by Sam. Randy Curlis. Jeff Dawes. Sam Han. Chris Hickman. Doug Rice. Mike Roos. Joe Vogel.
Yeah.
Okay, we will see you on the 24th.
24th?
5th, whatever that Tuesday is,
What time is it?
7:00.
Sounds good.
24th,
Okay.
Tuesday.
Yes, thank you.
And Rick.
24th of November.
So that way. Yep.
So, this year, we received 2 mowing contracts. You should have copies of each one of them in front of you. Obviously, we're not gonna probably need these for another month or 2. We wanted to get ahead of it, and make sure we got this done. A little surprised we didn't get more. I think last year, how many did we get? 5 or 6? And we sent them out to the same. We double checked addresses, phone numbers, and contact information before we sent them out. And we only got 2 back. So, we did use it one time last year, from our contract, and we do have a budget for $2,000. So we did use 300 of that last year, 310, I think.
Yep.
Um,
It's just under. 300, 'cause
Just
10 is the
under?
recording.
okay. Yeah, because we had to put a lead on it then, so we have additional costs that were part of that. So you have the 2 in front of you. One of them with hourly rate with applicable trip charges, which they don't specify the trip charges on here. But then they do go on and say, we charge, 50 for the first property assigned and 35 per property if multiple properties are assigned, so they can be integrated to a given day's route. If a property needs more than 3 cuts during the season is on a regular schedule, these trip charges can't be negotiated. Those are probably going to be ones where, and Mark, and maybe I'm looking at this wrong. If I get a complaint about a mowing that needs done and it gets mowed, do I have to wait for another complaint to come in on the same property before we mow it again? Okay. Then that'll sort of change something on here, because if we do it as a schedule, then that would change that negotiated or that cost for the trip charges for them if it's part of a scheduled, something that they do on a regular basis. The other one that was for TART, Property Services Creekside, just has an hourly rate. With no, I don't think they had any kind of, trip charges applied to their stuff. No.
There are 150 minimum charge. And then if it's 2 hours, it's 300.
Yeah.
Yeah, am I reading that right?
Yeah, so if it only takes 30 minutes. It's still
Yeah.
150.
It looks like that, yeah.
150, and then each hour after that is an additional 150.
So no matter what, if it goes over an hour, they're gonna charge us an extra $150 on that one. That's what it sounds like. So if it takes an hour and a half, it's still gonna cost us $300. That's what it sounds like on that. Now, the first one is, like I said, they have an hourly rate plus trip charge, so depending on what that is, and whether or not we have it as a regular schedule, and we won't know until a situation arises whether or not we're gonna do that or not, so.
So we don't have to accept any of these.
No.
And can we put them out then again?
That's totally up to the board.
We have to leave it right away.
Right.
Yeah, why would you want to wait, and try to get more, or?
Well, we spent $300 last year.
On one property, but
How many times?
it was bad, it was bad. That was one trip,
Mhm.
and I'm surprised it wasn't more than that, to be totally honest with you. I walked through that whole property. They had to take a fence panel out just to get in the backyard. They couldn't even get through the gate. It was that bad.
You can have the bidder last year that got the contract, the bidders now. Okay, so we got two bids.
Yeah. Well, both of these were part of it last year. I know he gave one, didn't he, last year?
I'm not
Well,
sure
I'm
about
not
him,
sure
but I
about-
know for sure he did not.
He did not. The Creekside did not. I think they were new. Tarp did, but they were outbid by the,
During the first one, they charged $50 to get there and 35 for another one down the block. But then it keeps $90.
so more or less it's 140 an hour roughly, if you look at it that way.
Correct.
Well, but anything over that, I guess, is only $90 because the trip fee is only for the initial trip.
I don't know, neither one of these things. But it looks like the first one would be more economic.
And the fact that he's willing to negotiate.
Well, and I do know Josh somewhat, and I'm pretty sure most of the sheriff's departments, police departments around use him as their wildlife handler for any exotic wildlife or anything like that they
Anything
need to
DNR
do.
can't do or doesn't do.
Yeah, anything that DNR wouldn't do, I think they call him. So he's well known throughout the community for other stuff. I think he supplements his income by doing the mowing stuff too. Must not be enough critters around. Well, we might not even use them. That's the thing. I mean, we might not ever even, I mean, if we don't get a complaint about a yard, we might not ever even use them. So it just depends on if we even get a complaint to use them. And we have to remember too, it's only for residential zone properties. It's not for any property out in the county. It's just for any residentially zoned property. So there are properties out in the county that are zoned residential. And that's what we had last month or last year. There was a big block of properties that's zoned residential, and this was in those. So,
Well, just on that point, south of town.
Yeah.
West.
that's the one.
Now, did we do that?
Yes.
And because that was residential.
Yep.
There was what, more than one house?
There's a whole triangle of homes there, and here's where it's at. As you can see, it's the whole triangle here is R1, but everything around it's ag 1.
Residential. Okay.
Yeah, this is all residential.
Talking, you were saying one house
Mhm.
that, somebody didn't like driving by.
No,
Otherwise, we'd be mowing hay fields.
yeah, it would be, yeah. That's the point of it in the ordinance, just reserved for residential zoned properties. I mean, this is a good example, that is, because it's sort of an island all by itself out in the middle there. But you can see there are a few others, here's an R zone up here. There are other zones that are just residential zones throughout but they're few and far between. Well, unless you're in, Rowan, La Fountain, in one of the communities, something like that, then almost all those have residential zones within those, and that would be appropriate for them too.
You need a motion?
I have a motion by Doug, second by Joe to accept Tart's bid. Randy Curlis, Jeff Dawes, Sam Han.
Yes.
Chris Hickman, Doug Rice, Mike Roos, Joe Vogel.
Yeah.
So I've got the monthly reports here, the director's reports. Like this is just the normal basic stuff we give you every month. Telling you how everything's been going. It was, I will say this, a pretty slow month in February. I think the weather got to a lot of people, stifled their construction, so we did not have nearly as many as we normally would.
By slow month, he means just permits, not the
Yeah.
amount of phone calls and visits.
Because now we're getting slammed by the ones that didn't get in last month to do all that stuff, the last two. So now we're getting hit with those now. So everybody's catching up. But as you can see, we have the planning and building, permit activity. What we're up or down on, from following years and similar information. The financial report on the next page, with our budget items and, variances, special exception requests, things like that. And then total permits and costs and differences, between this time last year and now. And then on the back page is our normal, permit issue, broken down into categories and how many, and then how many compared to the same time last year. So we've been doing this just for general basic information. If anybody has any questions on that, we'll entertain, any questions? If not, well, there's no vote needed. That's just information. So complaints, reassessments. Okay. So we're doing reassessments now. Well, we're going to keep doing reassessments separate from our regular complaints. We file them together in the office, sort of similar on the same stuff, but we categorize them separately just just to keep them separate. The reassessments are anything that comes from the assessor's office where they go out on the site and during a reassessment and find something on the site that did not get we did not give them a permit for in the previous years. They keep a file of all the permits for every property. And if they find something on the property that wasn't permitted, since their last, review of the property, they ask us, what's going on with it. We send letters out to the owners and request those, request permits for those, properties. We had 10 of those rolled over from 2025 to this year. So far this year, we've received 7 from the reassessment office or from the assessor's office. We still have 1 that was also from 2024 rolled over to 25, now 26, which we're trying to get that resolved. But 9 from 2025 that are still open and 3 still in 2026 that are open. So we have a total open right now of 13 and closed so far this year of 6. And that's just the assessment or reassessments. As far as complaints go, right now we have 54 total open, but that also includes 9 of them with legal and 2 unsafe premises, which so active right now we're actually working 43. 62 of those were rolled over from 2025. 13 have received so far in 2026, and some have quite a few of those have been closed. And we have 10 also being monitored for compliance. Those are ones that may or may not, they're right on the verge of being a complaint, but we keep an eye on them just in case. Some of those I take pictures of and keep. We don't actually open a file on them. We put them in case somebody does call, or it does get to the point where it would be a complaint, a full-on complaint, then we'll open a file on it. Till then, we just keep monitoring those. So after 6 or 8 months, if we monitor them and it looks like everything's okay, we normally just take those off the monitor list too. So, and stop even monitoring until we get another call. So that's all I have for those.
Anything from the public you'd like to bring up tonight? Thank you. I will give you a motion for adjournment. I'll make a motion to adjourn. All in favor, say aye.
Thank you, everybody.
7:35.